Greetings, my brothers and sisters. Well, I'm going to give you another episode of True Incidents, Authentic War History. I have already took you to the county jail with Ragtime and the crew. Now I took you also through Tracy with Reno and the crew. Then I took you to Soledad with Silky Blood and the Bounty Hunters. Then I took you to San Quentin with Joe Valentine and Weusi. Now I'm going to take you to the streets. But before I take you to the streets, I want you to know one thing. I did run into Reno inside the hole in San Quentin before I paroled. And there was so many bounty hunters on the yard to the point to where he was up against it. You know, the odds was always in my favor. And why? Because some people are afraid of odds. Am I afraid of odds? It all depends on how many knives they have. For me to be afraid, one-on-one, no. But I'm not no super blood. So, you know, hey, I can understand that if I hit the yard and there's 20 swans or 15 swans on the yard, I probably wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying, did nothing anyway if I was the shot caller of anything. But that's how life goes. Sometimes you don't know when you're going to win or lose. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, you just have to take the gamble, I guess. So now I want to get to where I paroled in August of 1987. And I paroled to the jungle area, to where the Peace Stone, where they stay at, over there off of Buckingham and Martin Luther King on a street called Palmdale, a dead-end street. Matter of fact, I think that's where they made that street where the dead-end street where Bone, who played on Training Day, that's the street I stayed on. That street right there was a Blood Damu street, the same street that Denzel Washington threw a nutty on. Huh? Yeah. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. Yes, I stayed on that street right there. And that street was straight blood up. You know what I'm saying? Peace Stone for real. Over there right behind Hillcrest. That area. Hillcrest and Martin Luther King. Nothing but Peace Stones over there. But anyway, I was still going back to the Nickerson Gardens every day when I did move over there with my sister in the apartment over there. And they was, you know, wearing fila shoes, fila hats, fila everything. Everybody was fila up, you know what I'm saying, when I came home in 87. And everybody seemed like they was just wearing gold thick changes around their neck. You know, everybody wanted to have that New York look. It's kind of ironic. Now the New York people is imitating us with the blood and crip thing. First we was trying to imitate them with the rap thing and dress code, the Kangos and all that. Now look what happened. Everything flips. You know, that's just to show you that life goes on, my brother. You know, but now I want to get to the part to one day when I was hanging in Nickerson Garden and the house authority, the people who run the projects with pistols in their pockets and drive white cars like security guards, they got power now by the LAPD to make arrests. So I guess they swooped on me one day and they asked me my name, and I gave them a false name. So now when they found out that my real name was, you know, they arrested me and took me to the police station, and they tried to violate me real quick. I was only out like 10 days and this incident happened. So what did they do? They tried to violate me, man, and threw me in jail. And I ended up in 4300, the blood module. That's right. I ran into my boy Santa Claus. He was chilling. I ran into his homeboys that was there with him. We was on Charlie Road. And it was Santa Claus. It was Baptiste. It was Thunder. Yeah. Them neighborhood 20s, I got real close to them. I think they do some karate also. Claus, he had me laughing, 90 going north. But then he told me a sad story. And the story was that his homeboy, Stoney, I think that's Angel brother, the one who Crazy B can have children by, Angel, where her brother, Stoney, had just got killed during that time, in that year. And it seemed like it hit them pretty hard. And they saying he was a real soldier, probably one of the hardest ones they had on their teams, you know. But, I just remember how sad Santa Claus was when he was telling me that story. But he used to always make me laugh because he had cap and he used to say, "Yeah, frog, I'm still going to get me an eye back. I'm going to take somebody's eye. A crip is going to have to give their eye up because I'm going to get me an eye." And he had me cracking up with that eye joke. He used to say that back in the early 80s, like in 82 in the county jail. And here it is 5 years later, 87, and he still had me laughing about it. But yes, uh, it was real nice for that time that I did the 10 days in there because they only sentenced me to 10 days inside the county jail. So I was in the blood module for only 10 days. And my boy Spons and Yanzi, yeah, that's the same person. Spons, Yanzi, that's my partner, man. He had the little bounty hunter car up in there. Him and Snoop, they was up there with Big Wheel. The other brother named Ace Capone, he was there. It was about like 13, 14 bounty hunters on Charlie Road, and I end up going out back to the streets 10 days later. And when I hit the streets, I end up hooking up with a friend of mine named Big Cliff. And Big Cliff had a spot that was cracking, man, balling out of control, man, between Central and Compton Avenue on the 108. 108 is the last street in the neighborhood that claim bounty hunters. Everything else is haciendas and Circle City. So we had a spot on that street right there, and it was cracking, man. I'm talking about 90 going north, like McDonald's, over a billion served, But anyway, incident had happened to where I end up robbing a drug house on 112th Street in the projects, and someone ended up getting killed, and that someone is Tavi's brother, Michael Clark. Michael Clark ended up getting killed, and I ended up getting away with all the money, and Michael Ford ended up telling on me. So it was three of us all together, me, Michael Ford, and Michael Clark. Michael Clark died in the incident, stabbing somebody, and then the other guy who was with this guy, he was stabbing up, shot him with a shotgun. Michael Ford, he get away, and I get away, but somehow he get caught and give me up. Yeah, that's the same guy who AC claimed as a Bonnaroo of the bounty hunters, day one. But to me, rest in peace, Michael Ford. But I don't have no respect for your name, and never would, ever since after that incident that you locked me up for a whole year on a murder robbery case that could have cost me my life. If it would have been a place of legal business, I would have been washed up for real. Well, anyway, moving right along, I can remember the great streets, Kenny Crow, Kenny Day. Something happened to him in Compton somewhere, or somewhere in Watts, either or, behind his purple car, from what I understand, that they killed him over his car. And they really didn't know who did it. So what they did, they end up taking off on my hood, the bounty hunters, and taking off on the Bebop Watts on their hood, and took off on somebody in Compton that was a Parole. So somebody from bounty hunters, my little homie Jay, rest in peace, behind Kenny Crow death. And I think they said somebody named Wino. I don't know for sure. Was it Wino or somebody? I'm just going by what the rumor was on the streets, that Wino from Bebop Watts passed away in that incident. And also somebody from Parole in Compton passed away in that incident. And this is around the time when everybody had AK-47s and it was going down, man. The war lasted probably about a good week, man, of nothing but straight killing, going back and forth. And I can remember a partner of mine got shot up. He wasn't a bounty hunter or nothing, but he was working at the spot on 108, and he got hit. We ended up taking him to the Martin Luther King, which they call Killer King, and the nurses were saying that it must be a war zone going on out there because so many bodies are coming up in here. And it really caught me off guard, man, that incident jumped off like that. The 3 Damus lost their life that I know of, and one was from my hood. But I also do understand that casualty of war is going to happen, man. you can't get away from it. There's always going to be innocent people getting caught up in some stupidity that we call ourselves, gangsters or whatever. But to me, I don't do those. I don't believe nobody should do a drive-by. Me, period. I don't believe that nobody should do a drive-by. I never did a drive-by, but I can't knock the next man for what he do. But I know I never did a drive-by in my life. Never, and I can't speak, too ill on brothers who do drive-by, but I just say I never done one. And I'm going to leave it like that. But anyway, the Great Streets end up finding out that it supposed to have been allegedly some Atlantic drives that killed Crow. And that big war that jumped off, I ain't going to say it was for nothing because you can find any excuse to go to war, But I would say that, hey, it was, to me, a bunch of BS because I feel that black people, even Crips and Bloods, need to have some type of dialogue before attacking each other. But in reality, people get emotional and things like that happen emotionally, So I can't tell a person how to fight his battles or fight a war, but I do know for a fact that people do get emotional and people do things emotionally because I have done things emotionally. But anyway, after the war, I would say maybe a couple of weeks later, I end up getting busted behind the drug house murder incident. And they violated me and put me back in the blood module again. And I can actually say when I came back this time, was probably about like 3 months later, when they let me out the first time, I came back to the county jail again 3 months later to the blood module. And it was different bounty hunters up in there and different Parole up in there. And I was just curious who was the people down on Abel Road, because I was on Charlie Road with Snoop Spons, a.k.a. Yancey. Yeah, Snoop and Spons. They was the ones that I was up there with, And I was informed that Michael Malone, a.k.a. Michael Snells, allegedly the one who told on Dayton, was down there with Stuffy, T.H., Eminem, and a few other bounty hunters that was down there on Abel Road. So I was like, hey, man, this guy, he got a jacket on him, man. Michael Malone don't belong up in here with us, man. Because we go get him at Soledad, and he got a pass then only because I end up with the short stick. And I posted I did it then. So I said, okay, I'm not going to put myself out there this time like that. I'm going to go ahead and handle it and be a man of my word. So what I did, I round up the crew of bounty hunters on Charlie Road, and we shot a kite down to Abel Road. And we told the Abel Road Bloods, which are bounty hunters, to handle that, the Michael Malone thing. You know what I'm saying? A guy from Nickerson Garden that posted that told on the individual that was doing a life sentence. So they shoot a kite back to us, Stuff Dog now, saying that there's no paperwork on him for them to do nothing to him. So we override that, the Charlie Road bounty hunters override that, and we went down after breakfast and went in the cell with Mike Malone and got cracking on him. We damaged him up pretty well. Damaged him up so bad to the point I had blood all the way up from my wrist to my elbows. That's how bad they was beating him, because I had him in the full Nelson, and they were just beating his face, And I do feel that my boy Yancey was looking out for me, because I sure was getting ready to blast him. And Yancey told me, don't do it, man. You got other Brims in here and other Bloods in here, and they going to tell on you, man. I had to think about that, and I put the piece away. So he got a pass on that one, because I sure was getting ready to do him for real. And I'm keeping it 100. I hate snitches at that time for real, man, and still don't like them. But it is what it is, and that's just what it is.